Okay, we're back. And I just hit continue after I fell into that trap. I mean, that really was bullshit, but it really wasn't that bad, because when you continue, you just pick up right where you left off. Right after the boss fight, and then you even got rid of all the white lines that you have to bust through. So, when that happened, that just made me think about that video that Taxidermist Pasta did of him playing Dragon's Lair. And, I mean, it's just so funny how frustrated he gets. Because that is, what I'm talking about is Dragon's Lair for the NES, and that's got to be one of the worst games ever made. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, it sounds cliched, but it seriously has to be one of the worst games ever made. And it is just impossible to get past the first screen in that game. I sure as hell couldn't do it. And what happens in that video is you're basically walking across a drawbridge and it crumbles and you fall in. And it just happens so many times in that video. And man. Okay, so Holly tells us that we can blow up this wall with some explosive. Well, she didn't say that specifically, but we can figure it out. Okay. First time I was up here, I thought maybe that was a guard, so I was like super cautious, but it's not. It just turns out to be the carrier pigeon that we're looking for. So we'll just have to wait for it to land and we can pick it up. Shooting doesn't work. Okay, so he's going to be a little difficult to catch. So, what we can do is call for some help. We'll call up our furry friend. Frickin' thing. There we go. There are more than 260 pigeon species around the world. I'm sure none of them are tasty, however. They're also very dirty. And I think we know that one. Aha! The plot thickens. And I don't know where that joke comes from. Jesus. Okay. So if we feed the pigeon, and luckily we're not actually going to be feeding the pigeon. We're going to equip these rations. And I'm pretty sure when you actually try to grab the pigeon with the rations, you don't lose them. And okay. So we have no idea what's going on. We'll ask for some help again. No? When he first told me that, I was like, is it supposed to be like in binary or hex or something? I mean, well, luckily, if you just keep calling him back, I mean, it makes you look stupid, but he just basically tells you to write it down and look at it upside down. So, when you do that, yeah, it actually looks like a frequency. I guess the little trick is, because the H is a lowercase, when you turn it upside down, it looks like a 4. So the frequency is 140.51. So we call up the guy we've been looking for all the way up to this point. But he can't speak English. He speaks Jumanji? I don't know. Czech, I guess. I think he's supposed to be Czech. Okay, so well, there's a lot of codec calls in this part. Okay, so we asked Dr. Petrovich for help. Alright, now we get to meet another chick. If anybody knows what the STB is, like, post it in the thread, because I've never heard of it. Maybe they just made it up for the sake of this game. And those of you who played Metal Gear Solid will find this all very familiar. And yeah, I'm pretty sure in Metal Gear Solid you do sneak into a women's bathroom. So, oh yeah, and Snake is like, oh hell yeah, we get to sneak into a ladies' lavatory. Fucking score. And the music changes because Snake is all happy and stuff. He's like, yeah, I get to sneak into a women's lavatory. He's like, let's go, go, go. And yeah, it pretty much is the same deal. You run into Natasha, and she's wearing an enemy uniform, but you can't kill her, of course. And you just have to wait for her to sneak into the ladies' bathroom when you follow her in. It's just like you did with Marilyn, Metal Gear Solid. Now we're going to have to backtrack all the way back to the first building. Take this long elevator down. Now you might be wondering, do you fight 4 stealth guys in the elevator like you do in Metal Gear Solid in this game? And yeah, you do. A little bit later. And pick up that ration under there again. Let's get our box. Now, I'm not gonna... I mean, I could go all the way back the same way I came back to the first building. I mean, through the... out the front door, through the desert, all that stuff. But we're gonna take a shortcut. I mentioned this earlier about getting in the water and having it take you back to the first building. Except this time we actually do want to go back to the first building. So I was, after me and Snorps did that video earlier, I was talking to him about it, and he just said to me, yeah, I'm so glad that you can barely hear my voice in that video, because I sound so easily... What? That's the sound that's made on my instant messenger when I receive messages. So I'm gonna close that out real quick. Okay, anyway. So he ended up telling me that he had his nose broken 8 times in his life. I didn't even ask how that happened. I probably don't want to know. So maybe we can get him in on another video later. But maybe it was a poor choice as a Metal Gear spectator, because he has never played any of these games. But I mean, at least he was educated enough to know that there's lots of cardboard box usage. Okay, so we're down in the low basement. I think it's the lowest basement of this building. And I'm going to stop here because it's going to take a while to find Natasha, so see you next video.